Red signal. I work as an assistant driver in the vast Russian railway network. We work in pairs, actually the driver and his faithful assistant. One day my partner got sick, and I was sent on a flight with another driver. We met before the trip. Chatted. So I asked, "Where's your assistant? I didn't pass the medical examination." My hands were shaking. He answered me, "Well." They shook and shook. Which does not happen in life. On this topic and hushed up. Go. We became friends. We can say there were plenty of topics for conversation. He, like me, went to the gym and represented a muscular uncle. So we chatted with him all the way in the same direction. At the final destination, we rested and drove back. The train came with explosive materials, so a guard also went with us for the transportation of hazardous substances. There is a branch line remote from the main route that passes through fields and forests. That's where they wrapped us up. It was late at night. We are driving, chatting, and incomprehensible rustles and whispers are heard in the radio. Well, I picked up the phone to listen, to bring the speaker closer to my ear, when suddenly the driver changed his face and almost shouted to put the phone down. Perplexed, I put it down, asking what was the reason for such a violent reaction. He told me, "Do you remember I told you that my assistant's hands were shaking?" So it was the same there. Rustles, whispers in the radio. He also took to listen to who was saying what, just like you are now. He was told something, as he himself says, some kind of grandmother, and his hands shook the next day. I don't know if it's because of this, but what the hell is not joking. The desire to listen to the radio immediately disappeared. I started asking questions on this topic, and he said that there was a village on the hill where my grandmother lived, and she still had radio equipment from her grandfather. Many times they complained about her, that she was wedged into the air, hindering her work. Even an investigation was conducted and she was found out, but for some reason, even after the investigation, she continued to transmit her messages. No measures were taken. A little later we stood in front of a red signal, and on the railway it's not like on the road with cars, red can burn for at least 3, even for all 10 hours in a row. The topic about the grandmother was forgotten, jokes and all sorts of other chatter rushed. After some time, a guard with eyes like 2 saucers came running from the rear cabin, saying, "There's a woman coming to us in a nightgown and barefoot." I repeat that it is the dead of night outside, the time of year is late autumn, there is a snowball on the street, a degree below zero, remembering about the ill-fated grandmother, we ran to close the doors of the locomotive. Returning to the cabin, they turned off the lights and quieted down. I was afraid to lean out of the window. I only heard how someone wandered around the locomotive at first, and then began knocking on the building with pitiful pleas for help. The driver leaned out to see who was there. You never know, maybe what kind of help was really needed, but after arriving, we told this to other locomotive crews, to which we were told, they say, this is not an isolated case, but before she did not approach, but sat nearby and watched, shouting something from time to time. That's the story. I don't know what it really was, maybe it was just a sick woman, or maybe some kind of witch.